All right, well, welcome to our meeting, and I wanted to just run through our summary from the January meeting that was shared with you all via email a few weeks ago. Did anybody have anything they wanted to change or correct with that meeting summary? All right. Hearing nothing, we'll assume that that is a pretty accurate reflection of our discussion in January, and we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is to look at our ongoing discussion on the priority project recommendations. So as you'll recall, we discussed these in both December and January. I had the subcommittee chairs convene their subcommittees to affirm or modify the priority projects that had been identified in previous meetings. And so the projects that we had put forward by those subcommittees included pole banners for that would go on to the light posts along Liberty Road and would be a way to sort of identify the community, be a little bit of a possibly a way to tie in some local artwork, those kinds of things. So that was one issue or one recommendation that had been brought up. The other was a series of projects to continue working on litter reduction, which would dovetail nicely with the new trash cans that will be installed. And we also had a recommendation for exploring ways to incorporate public art in the corridor. I just wanted to give you a few updates on where we've taken those discussions and some of the information that still needed to be gathered. So you may recall that we talked about the some of the challenges with the pole banners related to a policy that the Department of Public Works has discouraging the installation of banners on lampposts. We are continuing to explore that issue with DPWT. We've had some encouraging discussions, so I think that that will be resolved in the near future. And you may recall we had some cost estimates associated with those that amounted to about $1,000 per banner. We have plenty of money to look at installing a fair number of those along the corridor. But of course, we want to make sure that this issue with DPWT is resolved before we move forward with a whole lot of energy on the pole banners. The litter reduction techniques that we had talked about, especially last meeting, I'm still exploring with our folks in solid waste and also environmental protection services. We had explored the possibility last month of doing things like community dumpster days and increasing some signage for reducing littering and those sorts of things. So I think those are all in the mix. And one of the things that, and those were described in the meeting summary from last month. One of the things that I wanted to confirm with you is whether there are particular pieces of those litter reduction strategies that you would like to really focus on, because we had a whole lot of ideas that came forward. Okay, So that's sort of the status update on those things. And then the suggestion that I had made in our email, in the email about our meeting, was that we potentially also explore an idea that had already been brought up in previous meetings by the committee of hiring a consultant who could work on a sort of a branding strategy for the corridor that would help us when we're ready to initiate work, for instance, on the lamppost banners, or any other types of artwork or those kinds of things that would give us a little sense of what maybe thematically would be the things that could work into some of those designs. This is an idea that maybe ties together a few of the things that we've talked about and could lay some of the groundwork, but I don't want to kind of impose that on the group. So I just wanted to add that as a suggestion for your consideration. The other suggestion that I made was that the group could consider a retail gap analysis, hiring a consultant to do a retail gap analysis that would give us a sense of the types of retail that would be best supported on the corridor. And this could be a bit of a foundation for the community development organization to build off of as well. So those are all of the ideas that that have come forward at this point. And what I would really like to do is get some direction from you all in terms of which of those projects to aggressively pursue moving forward. We can attempt to do all of them, but some kind of prioritization would be really helpful for me as I'm reaching out to people and trying to get some momentum on them. So with that, I'm going to open it up for discussion, observations that you may have, any other things that I may have left off of that verbal list, and then we can hopefully move towards some kind of consensus on what we want to do moving forward. So I'll open the floor up to you all.
Do you know, well, I guess I should have raised my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
I did put it in the chat, but I was wondering, do you have a ballpark? Because I know it just working for a nonprofit, I know how expensive consultants can be. And I personally think we have enough expertise on this team. And I'm sure that the county's communications team could assist with branding. I'm sure they have some expertise and they should have some expertise in that regard. And I would think that the councilman, Julian Jones, should have some kind of retail studies, or Miss Shirley may have some information about, I think, again, we have enough expertise on this team that we don't need to hire consultants.
I agree. This is Kaylin speaking. I agree 100%.
Okay.
I feel the same way.
And just a reminder also that Izzy Patoka is also one of our councilmen now.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'll check with him. I have a good relationship with his team. So I'll see. Well, he wouldn't have, since he's new to the district, he wouldn't have anything, but I'll still see if he has anything for the Pikesville area, just as a point of reference, if folks want to review it. Okay.
Right.
So one of the things that would be helpful, I don't know if anybody on the committee has the time or the inclination to do something like putting together a scope of work for something like that, like how you would want to structure something like a branding campaign, that kind of thing. Is that the kind of thing that anybody on the committee would want to take on themselves, or a couple of people?
I
I'd
think
be
if a
willing
couple
to
of people would
assist.
step forward.
Yeah,
Go
I'd
ahead.
be willing to assist, but not lead it, but I'll definitely assist.
Okay.
Good.
I'll be willing to work with that committee. It's very interesting because it's interesting, and I think working with it will probably show some things up um, because it's so diverse. I mean, it's so many portions and so many things throughout. If you look at Liberty Road, that you can say, should this be our emphasis, or should this be our emphasis, or should this be our emphasis? I mean, it'd be interesting to actually delve into that, and you'll be probably surprised about all the great things that you do see about Liberty Road. And I'm going to let someone else speak, because one thing I noticed is that we are getting a lot of diverse um, eateries on Liberty Road. We have a lot. Well, we've had the Mexicans. I'm not the Mexican. We had the Asian, Chinese and food and all that type of thing. But I also seen a lot of African and Mideastern establishments that are doing really, really great, and they're expanding. And I noticed that diversity that's coming to Liberty Road. So that's something interesting when we talk about branding.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. India, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I'm not saying this because Sheila's the president of my community association, but she always has excellent ideas. So yeah, she would do well on this committee.
Great.
This is Kaylin. I wouldn't mind being on that committee as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Kaylin. Shirley?
One thing, when you and I had our meeting, we were trying to talk about things that made Liberty Road different or important or whatever. It's kind of in this branding idea.
Mm-hmm.
But we had, I think, 2 or 3 of the Tuskegee Airmen that lived in our area. That's something that's very interesting too. Maybe on some of these banners, we could, and they're gone now. They've passed on. And maybe some of these banners, we could honor some of these people that have stepped out for whatever reason, because those things do brand the kind of community that we are.
Yeah.
So just a
I
thought.
love that
Just a thought.
idea. As a matter of fact, we also had 1 or 2 of the real children from the Sound of Music. The real Von Trapp children lived right in Lockern at one time. And so, as well as Blaze Star.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, that's true.
Yeah, well, Blaze Star lived, as a matter of fact, she lived around the corner from where I live now. But
Oh,
so, talking about what you're saying, there's a book out by Gregory Smith Simon. It's called Liberty Road, and it talks about the migration of the Black middle class to the Liberty Road area. But the significant thing about this is that there are some that, like Shirley talked about the Tuskegee Airmen. There are also some other people, Dr. Joanne Martin, who she and her husband
Yeah.
founded the Great Blacks and Wax Museum.
Yes.
Senator Gerda
Yeah.
Welcome, she lived in Villanova at one time. I mean,
oh,
so
wow.
reading this book and identifying, um, outstanding Black people who've made such significant achievements it's good, and to include that. But I think once we begin this, we will find out we want to identify Black citizens, but I think just studying the whole corridor, we might also identify other people too who are worthy of some type of recognition.
Great.
Mhm.
Great
It's good for
ideas.
tourism as well.
Yes.
See,
Uh,
Amy, see, Daphne, that came from our meeting. After you and I had our meeting, then I really started thinking about some of the things we said, and this came from that.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. And those are exactly the kinds of things that I think we want to try to be able to hone in on. And when we talk about what it is that makes the Liberty Corridor a great place to be, whether that's now or something that we envision in the future. I think it's really important to also recognize um, what makes it unique, what makes it stand out from any other place. And so, being sort of a history buff myself, I always go to things like the famous people that might have lived in an area or certain events that might have happened, because those things are not replicated anywhere else. Um, but these are some great ideas, and I would love to work with a group of people then on um, what a branding strategy could look like, what other ideas we might want to pursue, and how to move those forward. So, so I have Sheila, India, and Kaylin as volunteers to at least initially get that conversation going. Is the and Shirley, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Other conversations on where priorities might lie for particularly using some of this money that the county has put forth for the Liberty Road corridor. Sheila?
Um, a litter campaign.
Yes.
And I know it's just not Liberty Road because everyone has the same complaint wherever they live in the county. But maybe it's time to devote some attention to an actual campaign regarding litter and making people aware of their part in this problem. And and I'm not focused so much on the residents as much as the people who travel through the area,
Mhm.
making them aware um, of, that we need their help to help resolve our problem. And I don't know what that campaign looks like, but like I said, it's not going to be specifically directed towards the community residents, like you are the problem, as much as it is the people that drive through the area that might be more of an issue. So.
Mhm. Yeah, so we had a few ideas from our last meeting that I can continue to explore with, particularly with solid waste in terms of some signage that they have. And so I'll continue to make that a priority in terms of those explorations. And then I can just continue to report back to you. And if there are, for instance, uh, signs that they would suggest that we could put out on the corridor and there's a cost associated with that, then I would bring that to you guys and we can get your approval for using some of this money to direct towards that. Does that sound like a good approach?
Yes, and could you particularly look at for billboards? I mean, any other smaller signs, along the side, their area is good. But a billboard campaign, how much would that cost? Because that would really grab people's attention, particularly since I haven't seen one about litter in a long time to
Okay.
billboard. I know that'd probably be a cost associated with it, but
Yeah. Okay, I will add that to our list. Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
we ought to have a sign somewhere that says, working toward a litter-free county,
Mhm.
because that's like a push that when they see it, maybe people will start thinking about it more than just a sign that says, don't drop the litter here, or some of the spread the love, not the litter. And those are cute. And litter doesn't stop where it drops. Those are um, catchy phrases. But I think if you post a sign somewhere that says, that you are seriously trying to work toward a litter-free county, I think you are being more positive and making a statement. So that's something to think about.
Okay.
I like that idea because it makes people think of the broader county and not just Liberty Road, but us being part of the whole county.
Would there be more sense of ownership over the message if it was more like a litter-free community? Or, you know, we want a litter-free, like,
Liberty Road.
yeah. I'm just asking the question. I understand like, it would be more of a sense of people in this community sort of urging each other to, I don't know.
That's a good point too. I don't know.
I have another question about the how much things cost.
Mhm.
Street cleaning. Um, the county has a limited number of street sweepers, and I don't know who's responsible for street sweeping on Liberty Road because it's a state road. So I don't know if it's the county or it's the state. Now, for the county side, they have a limited number. And as far as residential street sweeping is concerned, they said a residential area is only allowed one per year. That's definitely not enough. But that's another issue for the budget meeting. But if there's a cost associated with a contract for street sweeping, how much would it cost to maybe certain areas? And would it be appropriate for funds to fund a contract to maybe get a street sweeper like every 3 months or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I'm trying to get some answers for in my conversations with other folks in other county agencies. So that is definitely on the list. I thought I heard somewhere that they might be, it's either a budget request or something that's already on the way. But I think there might be an additional street sweeper that's sort of in the mix somewhere. Don't quote me on that though. But yes, I will definitely keep that on the list of things to continue exploring and then bring back to you guys. And I've noted it as a priority issue to try to get some answers on. Devon, you had your hand raised.
Yes. I just wanted to make a comment. I think I agree with what everybody's saying. I think with the signage and the verbiage, I think that goes in with the branding. You can tie that in with the branding. So whatever branding that we decide to come up with, then we can leverage on what language to put on the signs for the littering and everything. But also I wanted to make note, everything's going digital, and I've been seeing a lot of digital signage. I know it's probably, more money, but I think it's something to look into as well.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we're closing in on 7 o'clock here, and so I don't want to cut into the time that our guests are going to use for their presentations. But I know you guys had agreed to a specific form of voting for projects and that sort of thing. If I recall correctly, it was you were supposed to get notice of what you were going to vote on about a month ahead of time and then vote on it at the following meeting. I feel like we've been discussing these priority projects for the last several months. So what I would like to suggest is that after this meeting, I send out voting poll for everybody to do electronically and just confirm your support, or I guess not support, for these projects that we've discussed here, and then we can, unless there's any great objection to them, we can begin moving forward with them. Does that sound good to everybody?
Mhm. Yes.
And
Yes.
does anybody want to raise any objection to that? Okay, then let's do that. And I'm excited to start digging into some of these things, and assuming that there's support for the branding issue, I will follow up as well with Sheila, India, Kaylin, and Shirley to get that underway. Okay. All right, let's see if we've got everybody here who is joining us. I see Monica from DHCD is here. We have a few. Hi, Monica.
Hi, how is everyone?
Good, thank you.
Good.
So we are also going to be joined by Marcia, and let me get my list here. Marcia Williams, Jason Harding is here with us, Monica and Karen Evans. Is Karen with us? Don't think so. So before we
Here. Yes, I'm here. This is Karen.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I didn't see your name on my list as I was trying to scroll through there really quickly. Okay, so we have, if you all recall, Linda had invited folks from DHCD to talk to us specifically about some programs that are offered to assist homeowners, particularly seniors, I think was some of the big concern with upkeep of their homes, staying in their homes as long as they possibly can, helping to make things affordable for homeowners, and safe as well. And I just want to lead into this discussion with a few points to remind you that some of these discussions about housing are actually, I think I pulled out 4 different recommendations from the Sustainable Communities Action Plan that very specifically talk about these kinds of programs, supporting these kinds of programs, getting the word out about them. And so after we hear from our guests, I would like to pose the question to the group about how we can put those actions into motion. In other words, what sorts of information you can take back out to your community members, or what follow-up types of actions we would want to pursue based on what you hear. So just kind of have that at the back of your mind as you're listening to our presentations. And hello, Marcia, nice to see you.
Good evening, everyone, and it's good to be here with you once again.
Marcia, I'm going to turn it over to you. Maybe you can start out by introducing your team, and then if you guys want to just let me know the order that you want me to pull up your presentations, I'll go ahead and share those.
Okay. Thank you for having us this evening. We are the Division of DHCD, Housing Opportunities and Finance. And we work with residents, community residents, or individuals that are interested in purchasing a home or renting a home in Baltimore County. With me tonight is 3 of my staff people, Jason Harding, Monica Greenwich and Karen Evans, and we're going to do a brief presentation of all of basically the programs that we do have, and we are working with community residents just to make sure that their house is sound, safe, secure, and free from deferred maintenance. So I would first like to start with the Settlement Expense Loan Program, and after me will be our Lead Safe program, and then we're going to have our single family rehabilitation presentation with you, and then our final speaker will be Monica Greenwich, and I will come back to you with an initiative we would like to do with your group. So if you want to do.
Right. Let me see here. We've got everybody's presentations pulled up. The question is if it will open the right one.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Baltimore County Settlement Expense Loan Program has been in existence for 29 years, where we have assisted first-time home buyers in their purchase of their home in Baltimore County. You can go to the next page. A first-time home buyer is defined as not having owned a property or have title to a residence anywhere in the last 3 years. However, there's exceptions made for military veterans who are using their exemption, and that's their VA benefits for the first time. Most of the programs we will be talking about this evening are federally funded programs. We receive money from Department of Housing and Urban Development to bring several programs, to your communities or to be used throughout Baltimore County. If you notice, this number has gone up from a long time ago, but these are the numbers that HUD say we have to use is our what we call area median income, and it's established by the federal government. So you can see an individual making for one person is 62,600, and then for a family of four is 89,400. And as far as HUD's definition, this is 80% of the median income, which is identified as a low income home buyer. Buyer eligibility must be a resident of Baltimore County or employed in Baltimore County, attend school, or agree to purchase in Baltimore County. The buyer agrees to provide verifiable documentation to participant. But also, if you can go to the next slide, there are some criteria that the individuals have to make for first-time homeowner process. They have to attend 2 workshops with, currently we have 6 contracts with 6 nonprofit housing counseling organizations who are each counselor that work with the individuals that are interested in purchasing are HUD certified along with the organization. And they have to qualify for fixed rate mortgage with a participating lender. And we do have a set of lenders that we use, and everybody said, well, I could use this lender, I could use that lender. But back in 2009 and 2010, HUD required us to work with lenders that they didn't feel like our home buyers would fall prey to. And one of the requirements that we came up with was that whoever purchased a home, the lender had to be able to service the loan for 6 months. A lot of times when people are purchasing their home, what in the mortgage industry they sell the note at the table, right at settlement. And most first-time home buyers are just excited about getting their first home. They don't pay attention to what is happening, and we are not trying to set people up for failure. So that's a requirement on the lenders that participate with this program. If an individual falls delinquent, they're supposed to notify us and we immediately get them back into counseling. So it has to be a fixed rate mortgage. We will accept gifts. We will accept other assistance to the home because there's a Federal Home Loan Bank program that can go and coincide with the program that we are having. So 3% for a gift, and that's the standard industry. Our ratios are changing a little bit, and we're just watching to see what the new ratios HUD is going to establish on their FHA loan. We can go to the next one. And right now, our loan is for up to $10,000, and the borrower has to remain in the property for 7 years. After 7 years, the loan is forgiven. If they move out prior to that, a portion of what they were granted or loan will be paid back to Baltimore County. It goes into a fund where we refurbish our first-time home buyers loan program. It is held as a second mortgage right behind the first mortgage that they get. And the primary loan is principal repayable upon the earlier if they sell, transfer, or refinance. Now, sometimes you can refinance for rate and term where they can get a lower interest rate and a lower term. We will not support refinancing if they're trying to take money out to fix up their homes. We have another program that these individuals, as long as they meet the income guidelines, are able to participate in with Baltimore County, another grant, a deferred loan grant program. Next slide, please. We have 6 housing counseling groups, and potential borrowers are not required just to go to the group in their area. We prefer that, but they can go anywhere. And we have a listing here. Diversified Housing Development, Siobhan Jackson on Liberty Road is the major player or the major housing counseling organization in your community, but they can go anywhere. The next page would have 3 others, which would be Eastside CDC, Harbell Housing Partnership, and St. Ambrose Housing Aid Center. Now, St. Ambrose do workshops in the southern part, on the southwest southern part of Baltimore County. That is one of their targeted areas. We can go to the next page. And these are some of the lenders that we are working with for this year. So we do have this information. If they're interested in purchasing, they can contact my office and we will give them the information, some of this information that you're seeing, the highlights of the programs that we went over with you tonight, and we will get them, you know, on their pathway to begin the homeownership process. It is imperative that we kind of push and teach this to our younger people. HUD, Secretary Marcia or Marsha Fudge is really looking at us trying to bring wealth into our community with the, you know, with people, minorities, especially trying to teach them, helping them to build wealth. And one place that you can do that is by owning a property. So we are educating folks for that. If people are not ready, some of our nonprofit organizations do have a credit repair seminars. They have home buyers clubs that will help people to prepare themselves to get their credit straight. And all of this is free. We encourage everybody to go to homeownership counseling because when you look at the buying process and purchasing a home, the home buyer counselor is the only person that is not being paid by the borrower. These services are free. Also in our classes, we teach the post-purchase side. If you need repairs on your home, how you should handle if you need to refinance, what happens if you need to take out an equity loan? The counselors are there to help to advise you on that. Are there any questions? Okay.
I think we had a few questions in the chat, but it was mostly about sharing the names of the lenders and the presentation itself. So I will both email the presentations and then post them on the Project Hub for anybody who wants to access them. And of course, you had the lender information there.
Okay.
Sheila, did you have a question?
Yes, the home equity loans. Do you do workshops or presentations on home equity loans?
We can do that, but we don't do them because if they're a first time home buyer that goes into that gets funds, you know, to help with closing costs, then if they get a home equity loan, we are required to ask them to pay some of those funds back. But
Okay, so
but if that's a need, we can tailor whatever workshop you have or you want to bring to your community. We will bring in people to discuss home equity loans.
okay, I probably will do that because most of the people in our community own their homes. However, they are aging.
Yes.
The home prices have gone up, spiked so much significantly in the last 10 to 15 years. So they've got a lot of equity there. But they're not sure because, you know, you hear so many horrible tales or whatever. But I think that a lot of residents, I know in our community, would probably benefit from hearing information about home equity loans and how to go about it, what to look for, and that kind of thing. Because there's a lot of equity in these communities because a lot of the homes were purchased a long time ago, and there's equity sitting there for seniors who need repairs.
One thing we do have programs for seniors that are aging in place or people that cannot afford to take care of their deferred maintenance, and we will do that in one of our presentations. It's the single family rehabilitation program, and I will add some more things on there because we realize the need for the seniors, so we are creating a program for them. But I want to move on to Jason, and then I want to move on to Kern, and then we'll come back. When Kern finished her presentation, I will talk to you about what we are planning for the seniors working with Department of Aging. Jason.
All right.
Okay.
Jason, which one, I'm sorry, which one was your, is it lead safe?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just get that going here. All right.
All right. My name is Jason Harding. I'm the program manager for Lead Safe Baltimore County. This is a grant-funded program that we received from HUD in 2021. With this, we are to remediate any homes in Baltimore County that meets the qualifications, also at 80% AMI. And the homes, one of the biggest qualifiers of the homes have to be built before 1978. So older homes would and are presumed to have lead. Next slide. You can go past this one too.
All right.
Yeah, this is good. Lead is a highly toxic metal that causes brain damage and other serious health effects in children, adults, and even pets. Lead poisoning occurs when lead paint chips, lead dust, water are ingested into the body. Lead has been reported to cause learning and developmental disabilities, decreased growth, hyperactivity, impaired hearing, and brain damage. So this is good here. No, you can go. Thank you. One of the biggest misconceptions is that, you know, people are going to get affected by lead because of lead paint chips, a child eating the paint chips or you touching the paint chips and things of that nature. But it's actually the lead dust that actually infects people way more frequently than eating paint chips or even dealing with lead soil outside. The dust is very strong, and it gets ingested by inhaling many times over the course of a day in this infected area. So even though these are the listings of things that could be infected or could infect you, it's really the lead paint dust. Next slide. Lead in paint was banned in 1978 for residential use. As paint ages, it chips and breaks away from the walls where it can be placed in the mouth by children. Next slide. Lead dust is typically not visible. It's created by high friction of leaded surfaces, which create dust. Next slide. Lead soil can be found outside of homes and playgrounds and can be tracked inside the home by shoes or boots or anything on the feet. Next slide. Lead water can be found in lead pipes, which is also another reason for the older homes to be remediated because of older equipment that's in the home. Next slide. So what we do is we'll have a company come out. Say a person creates an application, we'll take their application. A company will come out with a lead gun to see exactly where the gun is with a laser. This laser will give us a report showing that the lead, or if it has lead, it will be in these areas. From there, we will do a full risk assessment to determine the location of the lead-based paint. We'll give recommendations on if this can be, any areas could be repainted or they just have to be fully taken out and replaced. We also give funding, which is free of charge to remediate the lead, and relocation funding for when the work is actually being done, so that family or that resident can be taken out while the work is done, and then when the work is completed and it's cleared, the resident can be placed back into their home. Next slide. The eligibility criteria is that property in Baltimore County, of course, because we're lead safe Baltimore County, built prior to 1978. The individual homeowners, rental properties are eligible, must meet HUD household income limits, which Marcia said earlier, and must have a child under the age of 6, a pregnant person, residing child, or visiting the home frequently. So for the grandparents, if they have a child that frequents the home, a grandkid comes every, once a month, every other week, they are eligible to apply, and we could see if they have lead, and if it does, we can go from there. Next slide. And also, I will send applications to Miss Daly tonight, so she can disseminate if anyone has any questions or any would like to apply, if they know someone in Baltimore County or anywhere near, Liberty Road. Next slide. That's it.
All right. Follow-up questions. I saw something pop up about foster children. Was that, it came and went really quickly. Grace, was that you?
Yes, thank you for recognizing me. I was good until you got to that last bullet point where it talked about having a child under the age of 6. When it comes to grandparents and elderly living in these homes, it's going to negate a lot of people unless they have grandchildren. So in my case, I wanted to know if doing respite care for foster children because they're under the age of 6 or constantly in the house, does that qualify even though they're not actual residents?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
For that, you would have to be able to provide a birth certificate for these children or child, to just confirm that they're actually under the 6 or under.
That's it, and it's constantly shifting because, as I stated, it's respite care, so it's as needed. So it could vary from week to week, month to month, depending on the need. So
yeah, that's fine.
How does that work?
So you would submit an application. We would use whichever child that would be for this particular week for the application purposes, and then if the place does have lead, we would check it, and if it does, then it will go through the process of remediation and relocation if it's needed. Some places they have sometimes a small site of lead, and that can be painted over, and that's just it. But there's other places that have a lot. Baseboards, flooring, doors have to be replaced, windows. There's a lot. It just depends on what comes up after the lead testing. It shows exactly where the lead is, if it is lead.
Understood. And can I just get the phone number? I lost it. 887. I need the last four.
3668.
3668.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Put that back up one more time.
Thank you.
And Ms. Nelson, I would encourage you, since you're doing that, and if you have an older home, we will work with you to make sure that it's a lead safe unit. That's one less worry you have. I know with respiratory kids, you get smaller kids and how that works. So if you're interested, give us a call and we'll work with you.
Thank you.
Ms. Linda, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. First of all, good evening. Hello, Marcia. Wanted to say that, if a person that has a home, an older homeowner or anyone has already gotten into the pre-sale status, you're already working on selling your house. Is it too late then to try to get into any of these programs?
Yes,
If
it's
you
too late at that
did
point.
that, if you sold your home, it would have to be if we work with you, it would have to be sold to a household that's going to bring a younger person in. So, you'll be kind of, and Monica, y'all can help me with this. You would be kind of required to make sure if the sale goes through that they're going to have younger people coming there.
Okay.
Typically, Marcia, can I jump in? For
Yes.
landlords, yes. However, for homeowners, I believe HUD wants us to maintain the property for the term of the grant, which is usually 3 years. And so if someone sells the property, if they want to come back and monitor, they want to know that the same person is still residing in the unit.
Yes.
So at that point, you are too late if you are about to sell the property. If you're
Right,
already
because
under contract or something like that, at that point, it would be too late. And also
that's
the
the
process of getting through the application, the risk assessment, the scope of work, and all of that's going to take time, and you'll be done and sold your home before we even start.
But what
that's
you
the
could
re-
do
that-
is tell the homeowner or the person that's purchasing your house about our program. And once they transfer title, we could work with them.
Okay, so, but the problem is that technically they're supposed to not let that go through if you've got lead. You have to remediate it first.
Well,
So
not necessarily, because when you sell a house, they're signing documentation stating that the house may have lead.
They're acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Acknowledging that.
But that's it. They're not saying
That's
they're going to
it.
fix it.
But that would mean that you'd have to sell in an as-is condition, which changes the value of the house that you can sell it at.
Well, not necessarily. That's just part of if you're dealing with a real estate agent, that's going to be part of the paperwork that they give to whoever's buying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only asked the question because that's when most people find out after they thought they had gotten rid of all the lead, when they go to actually put the house on sale, and then an inspector comes through to really deep dive inspect the house. That's when they find out, oh, I still have lead.
Yeah.
But you said
honestly,
unless that's 3 years ahead of when you want to sell the house, you wouldn't be able to get into this program.
Yes, I think it would be too late. And honestly, if you're selling your home, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that HUD would agree with.
Because they come back to monitor.
Yeah, they come back and monitor. So.
But Miss Dorsey, if someone is selling their home, they can tell their real estate agent about this program. If it is found and they are selling it to someone who meets the income criteria, they can refer them people to that person to us.
Okay.
But you wouldn't be held liable because they're going to give you a they're going to have them to accept this brochure that they give out to everything, and the addendum that they have to sign when they're purchasing it. But if you can give that information, if an inspector comes and said, you say, oh, by the way, Baltimore County has this program, and you can pass that information over to us. After they settle, we could come in and test the house and hopefully help them with remediation.
Well, hopefully that doesn't scare anyone off because you do want full disclosure.
Right.
Right.
And can I add one more thing? There's also a difference between lead safe and lead free. So a property could have lead, but if the lead is intact and not deteriorated, if the paint is not alligatoring, then it's fine. You can receive a lead certificate, a lead safe certificate, because we're the lead safe program. But lead free means removing everything out and starting from scratch. None of the components would have lead.
Right.
So there's a difference there too.
All right, thank you. And what is our next presentation? I'll pull that up.
It's the Single Family Rehabilitation Program. Karen Evans will be presenting.
All right, I think I got that.
Karen, you ready? Okay, if you can put it up, I can go through it. We have the Housing Rehabilitation Program, and this is where we see a lot of the seniors from Baltimore County that come and ask for assistance. It is a deferred loan. We do come in the house and look at it for safety issues, for deferred maintenance issues. In this, we will, if the participant is income eligible, we are able to replace roofs on homes. We're able to replace heating systems, plumbing systems, sewer lines. We overdo kitchens, and especially if it's an aged individual, we will remove carpet, put down better flooring, because we come in and we look at to make sure that the property does not have any trip hazard if it's a senior that we're servicing. There is a recorded mortgage on a court recorded deed of trust on a property, but there's no payments. So when you talk about equity loans and for elderly people that are trying to go out to get an equity loan, I would encourage you to refer them to us before they go anywhere. A lot of folks, seniors say, well, I don't want no deeds or anything on my home. But this is a way that they can live safe, sound, and in sanitary conditions until they're ready to do whatever they want to do with the loan or up until the loan is released. So we do come in, we do a full assessment of the unit, exterior, interior, where we can help a lot of folks that meet the income guidelines that are established by HUD. We can come in and do some repairs to the home. If we're not able to do all of the repairs, we will merge along with like the grant portion. We will flip back. The first thing we're going to ask you, do you have any grandkids, great grandkids, nieces and nephews, any pregnant? We will go through all of that to kind of do the lab remediation. And then we have another program that we work with individuals that Monica will be talking to you about. But this is our response to the home equity loan. And there are no monthly payments. It's basically have a lien on the property, but you're not making any payment. Hopefully this spring we will be coming out with a program specifically for seniors. We are working along with the Department of Aging for Baltimore County, and it's going to be exclusively for individuals 62 and over. There will be a loan limit on the property or how much we give out versus the housing rehabilitation program. We can exceed, you know, all the way up to almost 50,000 on this program.
Were there any slides you wanted me to roll through here?
You
or-
can go, you can move on. It does have the highlights.
Okay.
It talks about current. Can you explain what the rehabilitation program is? You do have the income limits here on this presentation. Karen.
Yes, you can go back to the previous one. Okay. The single family rehabilitation loan program is designed to assist income eligible homeowners with low cost or no cost loans to correct hazardous conditions, eliminate safety hazards, repair, replace major systems, correct interior and exterior deficiencies, energy improvements, modifications, and persons with disabilities, and eliminate lead-based paint hazards. And as a homeowner, I see the benefit of, you know how a lot of times as homeowners, when we do rehabs to our homes, we are faced with starting our mortgage all over again. In this particular process, that does not impact your term on your mortgage. Another good thing about it is that you don't have to be too concerned with your credit score as well when being in a qualifying factor of doing this loan. You can move to the next one. And this is the income eligibility, like Marcia indicated previously on the other program that we offer. And it's basically assessed the same way with the qualifying household members. And some things are determining factors based on how many people in the household is, like you see here. And it's basically, you know, consistent around the board or how it is considered when people are considered for being eligible. You can move to the next one. And these are the types of loans that can be impacted based on the qualifying factors and submissions of the documentations from the different clients. Which one is a deferred loan, just like as Marcia indicated previously, an amortized loan, which is the one that could impact someone who have enough income to make payments on their loan, and it can range to like 4 to 5% interest rate. The deferred loan is a 0% interest rate. It's a loan with a 20-year term, considerable, meaning that they don't have to pay it back as long as they reside within the 20 years. They are responsible if they decide to change the title or sell the property, and then it can be paid back with a percentage based on the amount of years they have already been within the loan. You can go to the next one. And this, like, these are the different repairs that can take place. This is just some of them. You know, repairs to the major systems, the heat, the electrical and plumbing, roof replacement, elimination of safety hazards, installation of energy conservation features, and modification for persons with disabilities, and removal of lead-based paint. And you can move to the next one, please. And this is the information that we have here for any interested applicants who want to apply. This is the online link above, and also there's someone wants to write in. We have the address, and they can refer to this information as far as being a recipient to process an application. And my name is Karen Evans, and I'm the Housing Finance Coordinator for the Department of Community Development. I apologize earlier. I was speaking, but my thing was on mute, so I apologize.
No problem. All right. Linda, I think you have your hand. Linda,
Yeah, is there an Marcia, I'm sorry. Is there an upper age limit on this? Let's say someone's in their 90s. Can they take advantage of these programs?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
So even though these programs are like 20-year futuristic programs and multi-year, a person in their mid-90s can take advantage of it?
Well, we will have the other program that we are launching for seniors. So we will look at which program will be more, you know, applicable or provide the needs for that individual, because somebody at 90 might just need a might need a roof repair. You know, it may not be as extensive as the program that Kern just described.
Right, right. But if you're in your 90s, but you have excellent credit, because a lot of people in their 90s are the
Well,
ones that have excellent credit.
but we don't look at credit with this program.
Okay.
We look at what the need is, how the house is. We look at if you have a whole lot of assets, even at 4 or 5% is cheaper than what you would get through a home equity loan, period. You're not going to find those rates anywhere. So we will discuss with the borrower which way we can go with that. But I'm going to tell you at least 95% of our loans are grants, deferred loans.
Grace, you had a question?
I did. Thank you for recognizing me. So I think, and just for clarification, because I kept hearing loan, and I know that there's deferred. So the deferred loans fall under the grants. Is that correct?
Yes, when we say deferred loan, meaning that you're not making a payment, and after the period of affordability, when Kern talked about 20 years with the program that we're coming out with, there's a set period of affordability on some of our loans. Once you have met those, then it reverts to a grant. So that's the difference. It's not a loan, it's deferred, meaning that if you meet the period of affordability, it will revert to a grant.
And then my question is that should the senior pass away, how does that loan fall at that point?
Well, typically a lot of seniors have put their family members on their deeds, and they will become part of the loan. Our mission is to make sure that that elderly person can reside in that property until they no longer can reside. If they do not sell the property, that lien will stay on the property for the period of affordability. If they sell it, then that's when we'll look to be paid back.
And the period of affordability is, you said 20 years?
Yes, it could be anywhere between 10 to 20 years, depending on what program we have. So like I was just saying, we're coming out with one specifically for seniors. It's not going to be 20 years. It will have a period of affordability, much less than 20 years.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move to our final presentation then. Let me just get that pulled up here. And I believe, Monica, this is you, yes?
Yes, thank you.
All
Can
right.
everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Monica Greenwich, and I'm the program coordinator for the HAMP program, and HAMP stands for Housing Accessibility Modifications Program. You can go to the next slide. The HAMP program provides financial assistance in the form of a grant to homeowners and renters with disabilities so their units can be modified to meet their accessibility needs. Next slide, please. Some of the disability modifications that we frequently do are chair lifts. We put grab bars in different areas of the home, walk-in tubs, rolling showers, adjustable shower heads, railings, flashing doorbells, lighting changes, pretty much any kind of modification, anything that someone would need in their property, we can come in and perform those modifications. We have some folks that have a hard time getting, even just the transition from room to room with the carpet. Some folks need hardwood flooring put down for the tripping hazard. So we can come in and do any kind of modifications. Next slide. Who qualifies for HAMP? Of course, Baltimore County homeowners and renters. The applicant must have a disability. And the way that we verify that is typically the homeowner will have a referral from a doctor. Sometimes doctors will write, on letterhead, or sometimes just a prescription that the person would benefit from a stair glide or grab bars or what have you. Or for folks that do not want to do that, they can also just simply submit their Social Security disability, because we do verify income, and it's 80% just like the other programs. Next slide. Who performs the modifications? So we do have a list of contractors that we frequently work with. However, the homeowner can select whoever they would like to perform the work. We just go through some qualifications with that contractor. We make sure that they meet certain federal requirements, you know, in their paperwork before we start. Next slide. This is just a little bit about the process of participating in the program. Step 1 is the application is completed and turned into us. We have a rehab specialist come out to, you know, go through the property, see where all the issues are, and develop the scope of work. From there, we send out a bid packet to the owner, so that way, you know, a contractor can be selected and we can get some estimates in. And then, of course, we have the grant agreement put together, which outlines, you know, how much the contractor says the job is going to be. We pretty much take that full amount on, and we outline that in the grant agreement. Get all of the offices across the street to sign and issue the order to proceed. From there, usually the owner and the contractor get together. They select a date that's comfortable for the both of them. And when the work is complete, the Baltimore County Rehab Specialist will come back out to inspect, and we pay the contractor directly. Next slide. So this is just a little bit of some of the work that we have performed with the HAMP program. This person in particular needed some adjustments to their shower, so you can sort of see that, and you can go to the next slide. This is showing up on the top, we have some railings. The driveway was in pretty bad condition, so we smoothed it for them so that way they didn't have any tripping hazards there. And then on the bottom side, we have a ramp that was put in for someone. Next slide. And then here you can see a little before and after, where we were just simply able to come in and put in some railings and smooth the walkway so that the tripping hazards were eliminated. Next slide. And this is sort of another one where we needed to put sort of a clear walkway. And this is at an apartment complex. So, you know, we will come out and put in these modifications anywhere needed. And again, a homeowner that needed a chairlift, we were able to come in and do that for him. And if anyone is interested, of course, we're all in the same department. Reach out to any one of us, Marcia, myself, Jason, Karen. You know, have anyone call our department, go online. There's more information there. And I can send applications too if, you know, if you would like.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there's one statement I would like to make. We would like to, in June is National Homeownership Month, and in conjunction with Diversified Housing and maybe the Liberty Gateway Committee, we would like to have a Housing Resource Day, hopefully at the Randallstown Library, that we can have individuals to come out. We will take applications on site. We will talk about our products. Siobhan Jackson will talk about the energy products if y'all desire for us to do so, but we're up and ready to go, and we would like to do this in June if it's okay with the committee.
Actually, I thought that you might prefer to do it at Randallstown Community Center, which would be more space.
Okay, then.
And the option to have breakout areas and so forth.
Okay, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for giving us the location. We was looking at the library because it was up and down, but it's we can work on setting a date. Maybe next month we can give dates to Miss Daly, and y'all can get back with us and let us know what's going to be good for you. We have graduations in June. You got Father's Day in June, so you know, if a Saturday is better for most people, because we just want people to be able to come get resources. We're going to bring in some other folks also. We're going to try to bring BG&E in and some other housing individuals in, that people can come and talk with individuals about what their housing concerns are.
And Marcia, you said you're gonna look at doing that at the community center, Randallstown Community Center?
Yes, yes.
I have a question. How do you all interface with like the Department of Aging and some of our senior centers? Is there information that gets shared through those channels?
Sure, it's information that's shared through those channels. We work with Department of Aging and one of their programs. They have a Because program, which is a grant program, but they have limited funds. So we kind of work with them on matching to make sure that the whole job is done, not just a portion of it. So we could bring them out also. They have limited money because it's foundation money that they receive to do this, and some of the work is done by Civic Works.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Any other questions for Marcia or her team?
Hi, this is Grace again. I didn't know if you saw my little cat feature down there, Miss Williams. Thank you so much. So I'll just state it in case nobody else saw it. I know that there's resources for reduction in internet and county taxes, and you already mentioned BG&E, but if you can try and include them as well, that would be helpful, and any other resources that might be beneficial to reduce the cost of maintaining a phone.
Okay, that'll be great, and we'll put everything together and then submit it to you. We want you to be a part of this also as a committee, to work along with Baltimore County Diversified Housing and the Liberty Gateway community. So it will be a joint partnership.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Linda, did you have something you wanted to share? Oh, wait a minute. You're muted.
Sorry, by June, the legislative session will be over, and by then we would have a better idea how many, if any, of the common ownership community bills that Delegate Marvin Holmes is working on will have passed, and some of the language in those in terms of sales packages, foreclosures, when people want to move out of a community that's regulated by an HOA or they live in a condominium. Some of that is going to be impacted by the legislation. I've testified on 5 of the bills so far. So we'll have a better idea.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
This is very exciting. I think that Resource Day sounds like it could be a real benefit to folks in and around the Liberty Road corridor. So look forward to collaborating on that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing this wonderful information. And I think I will, as I mentioned, I will have the presentations available for everybody in 2 different places, one on the Project Hub, and then also I'll email them directly to you. So please share them however you can, either through with your constituents, your folks in your community. Of course, you have the contact information for Marcia and her team. If there are individuals that you can connect directly to some of these programs. All right. So we'll just move on to our the rest of our agenda here. It's just a few other things I wanted to ask. Is Amy Menzer still on the call? Yes. Amy, do you want to give us a quick update on where the community development organization is and some of the work that's been done so far?
Sure. So I think you all were aware we did a kickoff event, a virtual kickoff in December. And since between now and then, the consultants met with a wide range of people and pulled together a work group that has a few people from this committee on it, but it is overall a much broader group. It has some pastors, it has a number of business owners in the community, and so it's a little bit of a broader group. And they are sort of looking at, they are reviewing a sort of draft needs assessment survey that is going to be distributed really as broadly as possible. At least that's the current thought in the community. And they're also going to be holding some focus groups. At least that's what's been discussed. We're trying to, the consultant is sort of guiding the work. And then now that the work group has started, they met once so far at the end of January, and I'm still waiting for the minutes from that meeting, and then those will be posted on the CDO hub. They will be also then planning out their work ahead. So I don't have the full details of how exactly they're going to go about their work because they'll be discussing that at the next meeting, which is this Saturday. So they at the moment have set a schedule of meeting twice a month for the next several months, and I suspect it's likely to continue longer than that, but they've set meetings through the month of April, and all the meetings are being held at Northwest Hospital, who's graciously agreed to kind of host us there, provide some sort of basic, like water and things like that, and just a nice room for the group to work in. And let's see, so there'll be the needs assessment coming up. And then, from there, they'll be working to prioritize sort of key themes for a sort of strategic plan or sort of priorities for the organization, and that will become part of the application to the IRS for the 501c3 status, because you need to say, have some substance around what you're planning to do, what the scope and mission of the CDO is. And so that's really what the work group is going to help decide. And then that'll be part of filing the application and forming the board. And then the board will take over that work of carrying it forward. So that's kind of where things stand now. I've also been talking with the consultant team about, how we get the word out to the broader public as the work group is continuing its work. And, we're still figuring that out. The first meeting was like people meeting each other, hearing from several elected officials who showed up. So there wasn't a tremendous amount of deliberation that occurred, but it was just really kicking off the work. Just trying to think if there's any other sort of key thing to tell you at this point, but I think that's where it is. Linda, see your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question. Were you aware that the Baltimore County NAACP was not included on the invitation list?
No, there's a member from the NAACP. Oh,
That's
no,
the
it's from the Randallstown NAACP.
not the Baltimore County branch.
Well, I don't think we can include everybody. So,
They're supposed to be included. I mean,
well, if you want to talk to me later about that and why you think that's really important, I mean, we're trying to it's not possible to include every organization and every person. So, it's like I said, it's a really good group of people. But if you want to talk to me later, about that, I'd be happy to hear more about why you think that entity in particular needs to be part of it.
I'm just curious. Does anyone else on this call feel that the Baltimore County NAACP is worthy of being included, or should they be excluded?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say
I
something
mean,
about
I've
that.
never heard anyone dismiss the Baltimore County NAACP before.
I was just going to say something about that because I am on the committee with them as well. And I know that they do a lot of, you know, advocacy and, get involved with the community. So I was just going to say that they probably should be on this call too. It just seems kind of odd,
So the work group currently includes the Randallstown NAACP. Are those two? So I understand they're two separate organizations, but I don't fully appreciate why it would be important for this work group to include both of those organizations.
Yeah, I just don't
Reminded me,
understand
but I'm
why
interested to know why.
Yeah, I just don't understand why there's all these different groups talking about the same thing and everybody's doing their own thing instead of us all coming together as a community to, solve the issue or get things going all together.
If you check for the last several administrations and up until recently, the Baltimore County NAACP was headed by Anthony Fugit. I would dare say most executive directors would have said, why is anyone even questioning why the Baltimore County NAACP whether it should be included? I'm just kind of shocked.
I didn't say they shouldn't be included, Linda, but like I said, there's a broad range of people that are included, right. And
they didn't even know about it.
I don't know what to tell you. In general, we were looking for organizations that were rooted in the Randallstown area and engaged in the community in the Randallstown area.
It is in the Randallstown area.
And I think that the Randallstown NAACP recently did a study on the Liberty Road corridor. So I think that might have been part of the logic of the consultant, but I don't know. Like I said, I would welcome further dialogue with you on this. I don't think we're gonna, I'm not in a position to make a decision about any of this. I would need to take it back to the consultant team. So, but I'm happy to hear more about it if you want to talk to me about it further. So.
All right. And so, Amy, if I understand it correctly, the community needs assessment survey is something that's going to be shared out into the community and looking for feedback from everybody that you can get it from. So I suspect that that would be something that we could share directly with the committee when it's ready to be shared. And then they can also work on
help getting the word out,
spreading that out into their,
awesome.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. And I definitely hear your point. I think it was Devon. I think it was you who said just, why can't everybody come together in one place? I get that. I think some of this is just trying to find a workable size of a group that is now meeting in person and is going to help make some decisions to rapidly get this entity set up so that it can begin its work. And the board of directors, you probably want to have no more than 15 people on the board because it just becomes difficult to have discussions and function as a board if it's much larger than that. So, sorry, Linda, do you have another?
No, I'm just still trying to recover from the first answer.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it's up to our consultant. So, sorry if I gave you an answer you didn't like, but.
All right, folks. It's 8:00 right now, and we just have one other thing that I wanted to quickly mention to you. We are still moving forward with our project for the trash cans. Those are, I think I mentioned in the past, we had some issues with the wrong order coming through. We have that moving in the right direction now. We should get what they call a golden sample, which is sort of the prototype that we approve, and then they go into production. I think we should have that before the end of the month. So hopefully that's moving pretty swiftly after that. And you probably have already noticed that new bus shelters are being installed, and that work is going to progress throughout the spring. So so yay, good. That's good progress too. And the last thing is I'm continuing to communicate with M.MTA about additional places where we might want to replace some benches. And we're just working through some questions related to maintenance agreements and that sort of thing. So I'll continue to keep you updated on that as that moves forward. So good progress. It's been a little slow going, but thanks for hanging in there. We'll keep making some good progress on ways to really bring some good things onto the Liberty Corridor moving forward. All right, so the last thing I'll say is our next meeting is scheduled for March 8th, same time.
Daphne,
Yes.
I don't know if we should do March 8th because March 8th, Johnny O is having a budget meeting.
Yes.
For District
Oh,
1.
yes, thank you. Thank you. I did note that conflict on the calendar.
And then he's got another one coming on the 22nd, which is 2 weeks later.
Right.
Right.
Correction has one going on right now over in Turner Station.
Yes. So we could do it. We could do our meeting on the 15th.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and move to the 15th then? And please, if anybody has a major problem with the 15th, let me know. I want to make sure we have enough people who can attend. But I know we've moved our meetings once or twice before, so I will move the March meeting to the 3rd Wednesday, just for that one meeting, and that'll be March 15th.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then then the one for our District 4 is the 22nd.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Next
my
week.
birthday.
So your Wednesdays will be packed for the month of March. All right. Thank you guys for a wonderful meeting. Thanks, a special thanks to Linda for organizing our guest speakers and inviting them to share information with us. As I said, I'll post everything on the hub and send that out to you along with a summary of our meeting and the confirmation of our next projects to move forward with. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will talk to you all soon. Hope to see you at one of the upcoming town halls as well.
Good night. Be safe.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Good night.
India, let me ask you a question. Are you still there? I think she's gone.
I think she's gone.
Yep. I'll catch her another.